It was real funny. I ran into my very first patient at the gas station yesterday. He's lived in town forever. He was my first patient, and he's like, "Doc, I still remember that day. You were shaking, and your eyes were a little watery. You were so scared, and I told you it'd be all right."
So I was reminiscing, Alex, about probably my all-time favorite story when we were at a CE course, right? This was probably, 7 or 8 years ago?
Okay.
When we were at a breakaway seminar.
Uh-huh.
And it was probably like the second time we'd been there. And we had just finished up lunch. Like, I think it was a good boxed lunch. They had some, like, snacks, all that kind of stuff.
Always good.
It was good. So... Yeah. And then we get back and, Scott starts talking again. And then I hear like a bottle open and we kind of look at each other and we see our buddy Trent opened up a bottle. I believe it was whiskey. We'll ask him in a second if it was Crown Royal. I don't know which one it was, but him and another one of our buddies just started.
Just right in the middle of the seminar, just passing out little Dixie cups of like, here's your shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
and we're looking at this guy going like, this guy's either like the biggest joker or like he's my new best friend.
Yeah.
Like,
so we figured we would bring Trent on today because we've known him for a long time. We kind of did startups around the same time. And he's done a really cool thing where in addition to like crushing it in his practice, he's also, I don't even know if pivot's the right word, but he's also put in another piece to his practice that's like a non-for-profit part. And so like, I feel like out of all of our friend group in there, he's probably the best out of all of us in terms of that and actually doing dentistry for the right reason.
It's always that questionnaire. It's like, why did you get into dentistry? And it's like, oh, to help people. And like Trent actually is following through with that. It's like all of us were like, I guess we'll circle this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah, Trent, thanks for coming on. And can you give us a little bit of that? Like help us with that story again too.
Oh man, good memories. Well, I don't know. You get so used to being in school and you have to be serious all the time. And then I don't even remember what class that was. And it was, I don't remember who else. Maybe it was Anthony Marbell's, one of our other buddies. I don't remember for sure, but it was bourbon. And
it was bourbon.
It was after lunch. So, totally acceptable. And it made the class go well. And I don't even know if you remember, it might've been that one. We were in this class and it was going well. And then someone in a suit came by and saw that we had out and like, they made us put it away.
They did?
Oh, really?
It was a small group, but they had investors coming by or something. And so we had to put it away. And so we got in trouble. I was like, oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure too.
I guess we're not adults now.
He served, I thought you could get beer there and stuff like
you
that
go
too.
into the snacks. I was like after 3:00 in that like the pop, vending machine or whatever it was, like the refrigerator turned into like Lone
Star and all these different like Texas beers.
It was awesome.
Like
so it was like, oh, this is a safe zone. Like we can definitely do what we want.
Semi-safe.
Yeah.
There's
There's
only way to find out where the limits lie. So
well, it was that awkward thing too, because I think we all wanted some of it too. And like, we just saw you and it might've been like you and another one of our buddies, Darren, that like started drinking it. And then I think everyone, because you guys were like in the front, and then I think all of us in the back. Yeah, this wasn't
like in the back, like, oh, let's pour a little. You're like, no, this is like right in front of us.
And so I think a lot of us just started like looking at each other and like, oh, they have bourbon. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like slowly we all started like asking, like it was like passing a note, right? It was like pass this to this person, tell Trent we want some too. And he was very generous with it. So thank you.
And it's like, what else do you have in the bag?
Caring.
Yeah,
we're all just grown up kids. So, maybe not all y'all, but I am, and maybe not that grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice. So kind of tell us, because the part I find like fascinating about what you did is, you're in Arkansas, right? And I think, aren't you're near like the Walmart headquarters. Mm-hmm. So is that what, Bentonville?
Bentonville. Yep. So it's probably like 3 miles from my office, the headquarters. And I'm in Centerton, which is like Western Bentonville.
Okay.
The high school in Centerton's called Bentonville West. So yeah.
Nice.
So you started, it was around the same time.
Yeah. What year was that? Did you start up?
2016 was when we
okay.
opened.
Yeah. And yours was 2017.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So like when you started your startup, did you have this goal that you wanted to get into the nonprofit side and start helping with that, or did that just kind of happen?
It kind of happened. I wanted it to be a part of the practice, like just taking care of the community and people. Um, be a resource and help people out kind of thing. But it's kind of grown into, okay, we're gonna do this a lot. And so now that's like my primary professional goal is like, how do I do this full time through our practice? And so that then turned into starting a nonprofit, and there's some reasons to do that, like fundraising and all those things. And it's kind of brought us to where we are now. So like, I'm a dentist and I don't know how to run a business, but we had a successful one because we were close to Walmart headquarters, basically. And the business stuff's not my jam. Stresses me out. I open in the practice, it wore me out, which is probably why I was, enjoying a little bit of bourbon at a CE class, and probably why everyone else took some too. That stuff was hard, and it wasn't up my alley. But I did it, and then so now, and as far as diving into stuff, you don't know what on earth you're doing. I did that with a practice, and then now I'm doing it with a nonprofit. And so we kind of are like ready, fire, aim over here. We're kind of figuring it out as we go.
Nice. Yeah. So but I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because we would always share each other's like successes in our Facebook group that we were in and stuff like that. And, I know you said you weren't good at the business stuff, but you did run a very successful practice. You still do, right? So like so 2016 is when you opened. Did you grow the practice to a certain point, and then you were like, I can stabilize it with associates, and now I want to do this? Or like,
what was the thought process behind that? Yeah.
So, I mean, I opened it in 2016, and it was really hard. In fact, it was real funny. I ran into my very first patient at the gas station yesterday. He's lived in town forever. He was my first patient, and he's like, Doc, I still remember that day. You were shaking and your eyes were a little watery. You were so scared, and I told you it'd be all right. Look at you now. I still have $1 in my office because he gave me my first $1. That was Buddy. But yeah, so we opened, and I mean, when I say I was like shaking, I mean, I was like throwing up. I had a bathroom in my private office, and I mean, I was throwing up before work, like that day especially. Like I couldn't calm down for like a year and a half. Couldn't sleep well and stuff. Like it was rough. But like through that, I kind of found, occasionally someone would come in, you'd help them out, and they couldn't pay. You know what, just let me help you out. And that stuff, like I never got nervous about that. I really enjoyed that, and it was a lot of fun. And so over time, it kind of became like, hey, I have some joy with this, and I enjoy this. Whereas the practice part of it, like it might be going well, it might be successful, but it stresses me out. Which kind of, I think we added our first associate in 2017. So after we've been open a year and a half. And then, through the years now, we've got, I think, 3 associates in the practice, and it's kind of starting to free me up to do more of the nonprofit stuff with my time. So that's what I do on Thursdays now, is we've got it's kind of our pro bono day. And so I'm working 2-3 chairs, doing a lot of dentures. I am in Arkansas. A lot of extractions, and just kind of whatever needs to be done. And I love it. I love going into work on those days. All the other days I go into work and I end up enjoying it once I'm there and around. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy my patients, but like, I'm not excited about it per se.
So, are you, so then you're clinical then, when I say clinical, you're clinical all the days, right? But like on the non-pro bono days, are you still working, like, I guess, as a traditional dentist of people are paying for your services, you're getting paid for it, all that kind of stuff? So you're doing, how many days a week are you just doing that aspect?
2. So I do 2 days a week doing just traditional. I've got my patients, I mean, like we're all doing. All of us that are still practicing are doing. And then 1 day a week is Thursdays, is I'm doing the nonprofit stuff. And I still check hygiene and do, that side of it. And we're doing some crown seats because I'm booking out really far, because 1 day a week is like the nonprofit stuff. So it's booking out real far. So I'll do some crown seats on those days. But we try to basically put those in a third chair so it doesn't get in the way of some of the other stuff we're doing. So,
Nice. So when you
yeah.
went down, let's go into like the kind of whole journey when you like made the decision. You're like, I'm gonna do the nonprofit stuff. So because I don't understand how that whole thing works. So
Mm-hmm.
when you said we're gonna do a nonprofit, what steps did you have to do, or what do you have to do to be, I don't know, compliant or all that kind of stuff?
So you have to file for nonprofit status, 503. I don't even know all this
Some
stuff,
number, some
but
random.
you've got to
Yeah.
get, basically you have to get status with the government and with your state saying we are a nonprofit. So the intention of what we're doing is not to make money. It can make some money, but that money then has to be put right back into it, into the mission that you're trying to go for. And so we got to where I think it's 2018. We kind of set a goal as a practice of like, okay, in 10 years, we'd like to give away $1 million worth of dentistry. And so that was like our kind of big, hairy, audacious goal. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but let's figure it out. And so once we set that goal, we started being more intentional about tracking what we're doing. And then I wasn't doing the half days at that time, or I wasn't doing my Thursdays at that time. We did some free dental days throughout the year, and then we would schedule patients just throughout any regular day, and kind of started tracking things to grow toward what we wanted to go. What we found was the nonprofit, like when people aren't paying you, it gets real expensive to provide care.
Okay.
And so we kind of got, our limit was financial. Like, hey, we'll pull teeth and we'll do it a couple days a year, but like, I can't really afford to do a whole bunch of dentures. I mean, you're paying $500 for a lab fee. You're not making any money on it. And primarily our practice, we got pretty high overhead, but our practice generally supports the nonprofit. And so
I remember you posted something about that, and we were all like, what are you doing? Like, this doesn't make sense. Why is your business, funding this nonprofit thing? But yeah, I remember that.
And I remember too, when you were first starting with it, Trent, because I think you were posting in our group, right? And you kind of shared those days you did, whether it was like like in the beginning, it was a couple days a year or whatever. And I remember you saying like, you sharing kind of the stats on it, and it was really successful. It seemed like, can you
like
in
the
those
free dental days?
Yeah, so like in
doing?
those early days, can you walk through like how you marketed it? Like if you remember, like how many patients did we see? How much care did we provide?
Man, how we marketed it. There's a clinic in our area called Samaritan Community Center, and they've got, at the time they had one doctor, and they provide no cost care. And then they have, like, in the evenings, dentists could go volunteer. So I used to go volunteer there on Thursday nights until we opened our practice. And then when we opened the practice, it was kind of like, hey, can you just send us patients? Like, this is going to be a lot easier. I've got my team here. We're set up. Just send us the people. Because I would imagine they get like an unlimited number of phone calls a day of people wanting to get in, because there's very finite resources of, like, someone has a toothache and they need the tooth out, but they don't have the means to pay for it. Where are they going to go? And it's either one of these clinics or they just go hang out at the ER for antibiotics every 6 weeks. And a lot of people do that. And so they started sending us patients. And then we did our first free dental day. We did it with them at our practice, but they kind of came and helped and scheduled patients and stuff. We had some other organizations we were working with. And our first couple that we did, we worked with them. And then over time, it was just like, we can do it on our own. And because it gets hard coordinating other people and clinics, and we were kind of like, I don't know, hey, we can do more each day. Like, we don't need to be so, we don't need an hour and a half to pull a tooth. And so we finally just ended up doing our own. And I mean, it was like set up as many patients as we could see in the morning. And I think we started off with maybe 20, 30 patients. Sometimes other dentists would come join us and we just pull teeth. And then where we are now, we've got, more doctors. We're seeing 50 or more patients on these, and we're pulling a lot more teeth. And then hygiene side, we're getting prophies and FMDs, I guess you would call it. A lot of full mouth SRPs on patients we've kind of identified to come in and do it. And so what's been the best has been working with other nonprofits and other groups. So you asked about marketing. We don't really market this. Because there's going to be a whole bunch of people there's going to be a bunch of people that need care, and there's going to be a bunch of people that want free care but don't need it. And so, like people driving in a nicer car than I have to get the free tooth extraction because they have a copay with their insurance. Like, no, that's not what we're looking for. And so we work with the local nonprofits in our area, schools. I mean, we've identified just a bunch of groups that are helping people out, similar populations, just kind of let them know what we're doing. And we just tell them like, hey, we're doing this. If you have a patient that or someone that thinks really has a need and would show up to appointments and appreciate this, and then they send them to us, and so we're steadily growing and getting more and more and more of these people we work with. And then one thing you read a lot about in dentistry is like, oh, I did something for free for someone one time and they screwed me over. No good deed goes unpunished. I'm never doing it again. It's like, well, come on. You help 10 people out, one of them maybe screws you over, and that's the only one you remember. But you also can run into problems with people showing up for appointments and missing appointments. And there's a lot of cultural things that go into that I would say now I don't take personally anymore. I used to be like, you don't respect my time. I'm trying to help you. You should appreciate me more. But that's not really what it is. It's people got bigger fish to fry, or they have a flat tire and they can't afford to get a new one. And so they miss their appointments.
And I think sometimes because we took in the beginning at both of our offices, we took Medicaid in the beginning, right? And so for a lot of people, that's all free care. And they do have like the highest, at least for us, they had the highest no-show rates. And same thing, like you kind of are like, what the heck? You're not even paying for this. Like you can't even come in. And then, I mean, sometimes I think we do forget that people have different life problems sometimes too than you may have. And so what you take for granted as like, I have a functioning car and I have like clothes and I have all that. Like you don't have some of the constant stress that some people have of like, the bus is running behind, right? And I can't get here or this is happening. And so I do think some people get in that situation sometimes because of decisions they've made, but sometimes it's just, you're dealt a different hand. And, I think what you're doing can you speak on that a little bit? Are there any, like, do you have any cases or patients you remember where like you did a ton of, you either put them in, a set of full dentures from them.
I see all those pictures, like the transformations, like those are amazing. I just see like the big smiles and like everyone's just so happy.
And so like do you have any good stories or specific patients you kind of remember where you're like, we fixed this person in like years after, it's like, I still know them. There's a good relationship. Like they've helped turn stuff around.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot. So it's getting to where like every week we're doing a bunch of immediate dentures, and we're doing them really on people that have never had a smile that they liked or they haven't in years. And they're in pain and having problems, and like, people cry happy tears a lot on Thursdays. I mean, it is routine. You're taking someone. A lot of the patients we're working with are working with our local Benton County Drug Court. So people that have had some issues with substance abuse, and then they get in trouble with the law. And it's kind of one of these setups like, hey, we will help you get on your feet. There's going to be accountability, and we're going to provide resources. But here's an opportunity to get yourself kind of back in the right direction. And then there's also a lot of it's like, or else you can have jail time. And so we end up, there's some nonprofits work with them, and they send us patients. And then, most of the time, like I would tell you, any of us could have absolutely had drug addictions issues if we were in middle school and our parents had drugs in the house, or we had friends. I mean, a lot of these people, the first time they're experiencing methamphetamine is with a parent. And so like, how are you supposed to grow up?
Well, yeah. I mean, even for us, like in all of us, how many times do you get patients where you get a kid comes in and they're 6 or 7 years old and they're just rampant decay. And then you see like the parent come in and they're like chugging a Mountain Dew, and then they're almost like making it a joke that their kid has cavities, and they're just like, I told you should brush more. It's like, it is really sad.
He's got my teeth. It's really hard. And like, it's easy to fall into a trap of wanting to judge people. Like, you did this to yourself. Well, yeah, technically maybe they did, but from a psychological standpoint, like, where are we supposed to learn how to act and behave? And so if you grow up with maybe not learning some basic, what we would call basic life skills, like brushing teeth. And as dentists, we've all seen it. It's like, this is not hard. Why is this kid not brushing their teeth? Why is the parent not making the kid brush their teeth? Well, it's because it's not hard for us because we went to school for 8 years. And our parents probably made us do it growing up. And so there's a lot kind of that goes into that. But what does end up happening is you get people that hate their smile. And in particular for our patients working with the drug court, they've got their life back in order. They're, maybe have lost custody of kids and they're getting their children back. They're trying to get jobs. They're no longer using drugs. Almost all these patients can tell me to the day how long they've been sober. And there's a community of people fighting and working really, really hard to better themselves. A lot of the patients we've seen graduate from the program and turn right back around and they stay around and help other people. But they had a rough time. And when they're going out into the public, they're no longer a drug addict. They no longer have issues, but their smile is a giant billboard that says, I have drug issues. And it makes it hard to get a job. People don't have any confidence. They look in the mirror and they see a reminder of where they've been. And so for us, being able to take the teeth out, especially ones that are hurt and causing a problem, and put in a smile. Like we do a lot of immediates, and immediates aren't perfect. You're going to have ones you love and don't love. And I had a lady yesterday. I was like, all right, Jordan, like after we, 6 to 9 months, we're going to make some changes, make it better. She's like, no, you can't take this one. And I'm like, no, trust me. Like I'm going to make it better. Like your gingival line, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. But there's, it just makes such a huge difference. And so then we see patients 2 weeks later at a post-op, and for the first time, they're not wearing pajamas. Their hair's done. They're cleaned up. Men will shave, and like you can just see that chin lift up, and there's a confidence there they haven't had in a whole long time. And then you continue to see patients. So one of the first ones we did is now actually like the director of one of these nonprofits we work with, and she is on the ball. Like she's awesome. She's someone we would easily hire to work in the practice. But she caught up in some wrong stuff, some bad stuff for her in high school. And now she's got her life turned around, and her full-time job mission is helping other people in her situation. And she sends us patients all the time. In fact, I told her the other day, I was like, hey, Carrie, you can send us some more. She's like, well, I don't want to overwhelm you with it. And I know what you guys are trying to do. I'm like, no, send us more. Like if they come from you, I know they're going to be good. I know it's going to be a good patient. I can really help out. And oh yeah.
No, that's all. I mean, so you were talking earlier about like, I did the startup. It was stressing me out. It was bad. Do you remember like a moment where you're like, I don't think this is sustainable for me? Like, did you end up having any, like, did you end up getting like, I know you said you were throwing up and stuff like that. Like, did you end up getting pretty bad anxiety, or can you go into like what happened to you? Cause I mean, for me too, it's the same thing. Like when COVID hit, like we're all working like crazy trying to do startups. And like you said, you preface like your office does well, you're successful. Our practices did well too. So, that's still a good thing, but like how did it affect you? If you like our podcast, check out Alex's newsletter, Just 2 Minutes. It's full of great advice, which makes sense considering it's her thoughts and not me sidetracking her every 2 seconds. You can subscribe at coupleofdentists.com. The link is in the show notes. Now, back to the pod.
Oh, man. So, was there a day? No, it was like from 2016 to 2018, where, I had lots of thoughts of like, how do I get out of this? I've got this debt. Like, do I go work for the insurance company? There's not a dental school close by. Do I move my family, looking for a dental school? And like, it was a pretty dark, it was a very hard time. So, anxiety 100%. And I still have it. I still have it about things, but it gets better and better. And at least for me, so it's been, part of that situation was like some soul searching of, those like cheesy, write your own obituary, or you're on your deathbed looking back at life. What are you going to be proud of? Blah, 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 blah. And like those things for me kept pointing back to, I have this skill, which is dentistry, that a lot of people don't have. And there's a tremendous need for it. And I kind of enjoy the dentistry part of it, especially when there's not all the stress of a paying patient attached to it. And so like just helping people out, man, I have fun with it. I enjoy it. And so that's kind of what led me to do more of what we do. And it was like, okay, I got this impossible thing. I can't just work for full time for free for people. That doesn't make sense. Which then kind of became okay, how would that happen? and what would that look like? And then getting people on board with it. Like my team, I mean, they for the nonprofit stuff, they do more for that than I do. I just show up and do the dentistry, but I've got employees that, I mean, they've run with it and they love it and they have so much fun with it. It can be overwhelming at times, but they're learning all these things and getting out in the community and communicating it, and like kind of figuring out, how do we schedule better, how do we handle all these complications that we run into. And like it's become a cultural thing at the office. And so our overhead might be really high, but like we got people pretty proud of where they work too. And we've got some awesome people that we get to work with. And yeah, we still have turnover and everything, but it's not been as bad as I think a lot of places have. And it's kind of a culture thing for the practice. So it's not like it's just me out here doing this. Like we set some goal, the $1 million goal, that was as a team.
Are you guys have you guys hit that goal? Or are you guys close to it?
Not yet. We got over, I think we were at like 840 last year. So the 2028 would be the 10 years.
You guys all.
So
we got time.
So we're ahead of schedule. But like I mentioned earlier, starting the nonprofit, a big part of that was for us was you can get grants and take donations. And so, and for us, the big one is like, how do we pay for these dentures? Because right now my employees, I pay them like they're not, I mean, they come in, this is a job they need. And so they're all paid for their time up there. And, it's not like we're paying rent for the nonprofit or anything like that. But the last year we got a grant from Delta Dental to pay for a lot of our denture costs. And so we did 77 arches last year. We were able to donate. And not all of it, but a big chunk of that Delta paid for through our grant. And so last year we did more dentures than we've ever done. And it was directly because we got that grant.
Yeah. So you just have a different opinion of Delta Dental than probably 90% of the listeners.
Probably from their like guilt fund or something like that.
I would say the Delta Dental of Arkansas Foundation. That's who we worked with. And yes, it's not been your typical call and argue with the insurance company over something. Like the foundation side is its own thing.
Okay.
And like they're pumped about what we're doing, and they're like, okay, you should try this. Like they've become a resource to help us do what we're doing. And so we are in network with Delta Dental. I completely understand that side of life.
Too.
But it has made, I mean, they have like them or not, they are investing in endeavors and communities to help with dental health. And my practice is one of them. Our nonprofit side of things is, they're not just giving us money on the other side of it, but the nonprofit, they are supporting that. And so it helped a whole bunch of people be able to smile last year.
Awesome. Yeah. And do you have a in-house lab that you're doing, or what are you doing for that?
Yes and no. We've got, we have a mill and some 3D printers. And so we are doing a lot more 3D printed dentures at the moment. We used up our grant funds, and now we're waiting to hear if we get it this year. And I've got some employees that have done some training and enjoy the 3D design and all those things. And so we've moved to almost all of our immediates now are 3D printed for the nonprofit. And even we would do them for paying patients. I get a little bit weary on having it be a permanent full-time restoration, like for a paying patient at the moment. And so we're not doing a ton there just because I'm still testing it out and figuring it all out. But we also have a mill. And so we have milled some dentures as well for finals. And so, and the cost to do it is cheap.
Okay. It is a lot less than having an actual, like sending it out to a lab.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, so once you have the equipment, right, you got to buy the equipment, but let's just say you have it already because you're doing other things. I mean, it's probably $30, maybe an arch. Now, if you have someone design it, you can have it, sent out and have someone design for $50 an arch. So say you're paying $80 an arch, like that's not bad. And we've been outsourcing some of the design because it takes time and my team's still learning. And then we also my team's designing a lot of them too. And so for us, like ideally I'd like to 3D print all of them, because if I can make a denture for $40, I can do a whole lot more dentures. Than spending, $300 to send out to a lab. And that's
So
kind of a longevity type thing. Like if our grants dry up or we only have so much money to use, how can we be as efficient as possible with it?
So has it actually helped grow the other side of the practice, like having that non for profit and having that culture there? Have you has your practice has like the profitable part of the practice, has that grown?
That's going to be hard to know. What I do know, like up until a year or two ago when we started the nonprofit, we didn't really advertise what we were doing. Like if we did a free dental day, we would do a Facebook post or something. But we weren't really communicating that a lot. But in the last couple of years, we start sharing with patients what we're doing, and I would say our patients seem real excited about it. In fact, they support it. Yesterday. We've got a couple of employees used to work at a local pizza place and bar. And on Thursdays, they do like 7% of sales go to a local nonprofit. So they got us set up with that. So we went last night out for pizza, and like bunch of the team went. We had patients there. We had people in the community on the nonprofit side we've been working out with were there, and like they're excited about it. We've started sharing more of what we're doing, and it, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to say because we've never had a problem with new patients. We're in Arkansas. There's not tons of dentists. We're on a busy road in a great location, and people have a good experience at our office. Like we may not be the best. I may not be the best with all the numbers, businessy stuff, but we are nice to people, and we make it a point to be kind and take care of people. And so all those things mean since we've opened, we've not had room for all of our new patients, and so that continues to grow. I'd say maybe doing the nonprofit stuff has helped just with general goodwill. And now those patients are supporting it. So we've had some patients cut us a $500 check just because they want to be involved and help out.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And cover the cost of care for something. And so do we need more new patients and stuff to help it grow? No, but has it kind of solidified ourselves in the community and what we're doing and with our patients? Absolutely.
So I've got an interesting question. So let's say you've got a patient is like, hey, I need dentures, I need all my extractions. If let's say they worked for Walmart, right? Because you said that's 3 miles from you, right? If they have insurance already, how does that work on the nonprofit side? Do you still run stuff through insurance, or can you do you not see someone who has insurance?
My thought on this in general is if they have a job and they have insurance, they're not really who we're targeting. And so yes, taking their teeth out, it's going to be an expense, but like there's means there. A lot of the people we're helping, I mean, we're working to put food on the table for some of them, or we're trying to get a job. Or we're in a different financial situation than someone that has a job that pays insurance. And so we've had I feel like we maybe have done one or two, but in those we're not billing the insurance. Like we're because we can't, like that's a contract break, even though the nonprofit's not in network with insurance. It's kind of one of those like, well, let's not mess with that.
It's kind of gray area,
like on kids and stuff. But like with kids, actually with like Medicaid, they're going to cover most anything, and so we're network with Medicaid with our doctor that sees the kids, and so that works out. But like we're on some of that, we'll do the root canals, and we're not billing anything out because Medicaid's not going to cover it and all that. But no, if you've got a job and you have Delta and you want a denture, like, man, that's not really.
That's not the fit. Yeah, there's
not.
Well, it seems like what you're saying is there's so much need in your area that, and I guess it's a good and a bad thing. It's not a good thing that you guys can be picky because it means there's a lot of people who need help, right? But it also means that you can help a lot of people. So yeah.
Oh, there's no shortage of people to help, and our challenge is like, how do we? Because we don't want to just open our doors that we're the free dentist and come here and get everything done because you don't know what you're going to get. Like we really want people sent to us that we know are going to appreciate it and have a genuine need. And so that's where like just making contacts in the community, I have a patient recently that he was in and he works with the VA helping with some of the homeless veterans. And I was like, dude, send me patients. And so he's going to start sending us patients. And another lady worked with the local hospital system with, some similar type of work. I'm like, send us patients, like, because these are social worker type situations where they have relationships and they know people and they want to help these people, and they also know the ones that are assholes, and they're not going to send to somebody that they like. So yeah.
So go ahead.
So after the $1 million goal, what's your personal goal with all this?
That's funny. That was literally the next question I was going to ask him.
Well, then,
we were thinking on the same page. Yeah.
Okay, so like my goal with this is we've got a big practice, and I would like to, I would like my income to come from the practice, but not from my production. And so that basically means I'm involved from a cultural standpoint and leadership role, but I don't want to sit at home and be away from the office. I want to do my full-time work in the nonprofit. And so we've got an empty space next to our office. So there's 2,000 empty square feet that I could put a tenant in, but it's been like one of those, man, I feel like I don't need to put a tenant in it. We're going to hang on to this. And so eventually I would like that to be built out for the nonprofit. And that's where I do that until my hands fall off. And so, because I enjoy it. Like I enjoy this. I look forward to it. I have a lot of fun with it. I have no interest in retiring, but I would like to be at a financial situation where I don't have to work for money, if that makes sense. And so that's kind of my side hustle, get out of dentistry as young as you can thing that everyone seems to want to do. Like I want to work at the nonprofit and have my practice, help pay for my expenses, life expenses, and all that stuff. So that's kind of like what everybody wants to do to a point. I have fun with it. Like, this is something I enjoy. I look forward to it. Maybe I'm wired weird. I would say everybody should try to do it and do some of this, because if you go into it and help people out, like, there's a part of that just feels good and it's enjoyable and it's fun. It can be hairy. It can be a total mess, and you can absolutely get burned, but you don't have to. Like, yeah, don't let the grumpy few ruin everything for. And we've had some. We've definitely had some that were just awful. But whatever. Like, we've had a whole bunch more that were awesome, and the awful ones make for good stories.
So if someone's listening to this, someone is, and they wanted to kind of get started, and they're like, hey, okay, maybe let me dabble in this. How would you tell them to start? Like, what's like the low hanging fruit with this? We all know Eric wants more friends. If you're enjoying this episode, share the podcast and then tell them to DM Eric so he can hit his quota of 1 new friend per day. Now back to the episode.
I would say contact, most communities or areas are going to have some kind of clinic that does free extractions. It might be at a church, one night a month or something. I would contact whoever works there and ask, hey, can I volunteer? And if you have your own practice, kind of talk to them, like, what would it look like if you guys sent me patients on this day? And maybe set aside a morning and have them send you patients and schedule, confirm, do everything like normal. On our days, everything, the patients go in open dental, everything like normal. We have on those days, the provider is Meant for More, which is the name of our nonprofit, because we're Mint Dental Care. It's a pun, and I had to use a pun. But so we have a Meant for More provider, and so that way we can track everything which you need for applying for grants and all that stuff. But work with that clinic. You're gonna have resources and people there, and just start with extractions. It's, in my mind, it's the cheapest thing you can provide, and it's the biggest need. And so my team a lot of times like, oh, can you help this person do these fillings? They need some crowns. I'm like, listen, they're not gonna die from that. And so, like, I'm kind of looking at myself as an ER kind of situation of, like, if I can only see 10 people, I'm seeing the ones with abscess teeth that need to come out. And start with that if you're comfortable with extractions. If you're not, you'll get real good at extractions. And so that's where I would start. And then I would also say involve your team. Maybe our team is unique, but like when we come in on our free dental days, like, it is a different vibe. People are excited to be there. It does not feel like work. Wow. We're working hard, but it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. So, like, just because this is where my brain goes, because I don't like doing extractions, and my head goes to, like, oh God, how do you deal with the complication? What happens in your situation? Are you, like, connected with any specialists or anything like that? If, let's say, you're trying to take a tooth out and I don't know, you see a patient, you're like, oh man, like they're a little more medically compromised than I thought, or like I'm going to have to get this tooth out and it's outside of the scope of what I'm comfortable with. How do you handle those situations?
Yeah. So mostly like I would any other patient. And so if there's a tooth I'm not comfortable and I know I'm not going to get it out, like I'm going to refer. We do have an oral surgeon that I'll refer to. Sometimes, depending on the case, we'll help cover the cost. One of the oral surgery groups in our area, they do some work with one of the local free dental clinics that we work with. And so I'll kick them back over to them and see if they can get them set up with the surgeon and take care of it. Complications, can't get a tooth out, that kind of thing. Like I'm content to help cover the cost for the patient. And that's kind of like, but it would be the same with a paying patient. Like if I can't get a tooth out, send it to the surgeon, like I'm going to cover that extra cost for them. So some of that's built in and some of that's just going to be going on feel and what works for you and how to handle it. I like doing extractions. So we do a lot of extractions and those come with complications and have things happen. And some of that's just part of dentistry. Like it's part of being a dentist. So it's not necessarily, for me, it's not that much different for the nonprofit side of things. So
yeah, because you and Alex both,
no matter what,
you and Alex both are good with extractions, right? And like doing them. Is it like, because I always try to figure this out, like mentally, what is it that you like? Is it the fact that like it's more black and white where there is a tooth, you take a tooth out and then it's done? Like, is that what you guys like about extractions? Like what is it, Alex?
Maybe.
For you?
Yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's a goal at the end. It's like, I know what it is and you got to take it out and you're like, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I like it.
It's done. It's like not most people in the world can't pull a tooth. So it's like, oh yeah, I got you.
You feel like a badass after?
Yeah, it's a badass factor. And for like, you're getting people out of pain. It is cut and dry. Like tooth needs to come out, take the tooth out. We're not worried about post-op sensitivity or pulpitis or anything like that. I think maybe just Alex and I are just cooler.
Oh, I think definitely that's not up for debate. Yeah, you guys are just way better.
I think
I relate
Eric,
to you when it comes to doing just like. Yeah, I think you and I can relate when it comes to just doing like buccal pits, right? I could do those all day. Super straightforward. Probably not complications. Easy to go. Don't have to tell the patient you pulp the tooth. Don't have to do anything like that.
I'm so good at buccal pit amalgams. I'm so good at buccal pit amalgams. You can't comprehend it unless you saw it.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, this was awesome.
Thanks.
Just to hear like your story about how you've done all this and it's always cool for us too, right? Like, I don't know if a lot of the listeners know, but we've kind of created a cool little group or community of, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 of us who kind of went through the same startup journey at the same time. And it's so cool just to see. It's really made me a believer in having that good sense of community and having just a group of people who there's really no ulterior motive with what you're doing. We were all just trying to help each other grow. No one was trying to sell anyone anything. It was just helping. And I don't know, for us, it was a huge reason why we feel like we're at where we're at. And I don't know if you felt the same way in that group, but it was
absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Cause like we all have our different goals and things we're working toward. And so like the big goal of how do I have a productive, successful practice that supports my nonprofit. But it also can support retirement or, whatever else you want to do. Like you guys, like, this is fun. I've been listening to you guys. It's so funny because Alex is totally like, we're going to be efficient. We're going to get things done. And like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then Eric's like, oh,
yeah,
I want a hug.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, shut up, do your job.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get. So
I'll listen to you
guys. It just cracks me up. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The dynamic here in between.
It's so like so like gender role switched, I feel like, which is very funny.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That masculine energy. Yes.
100%, because I'm a lot more like Eric, I think. And I'll hear, Alex, you'll say something like, no, that doesn't stress me out at all. It's just
do it.
That sounds terrible. And then Eric, you can hear it in his voice. He's like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, Eric will throw up after this anyway. So
I know. Nice. Well, hey, thanks again, man. We'll have to have you come back on at some point and just talk more. But thanks.
I mean, if anyone wants to know, like, what's the best way to have a lower profit margin. Like that's where I'm at, man. This
we'll
is
do
gonna, how to lower your profit margin by 20 points, and I think everyone's gonna tune in and love it.
Yeah,
awesome. So it's different, but you know what? It's a lot of fun, and I have a lot of fun with it. So we like it.
Awesome.
Well, all right, thanks, Trent.
Cool.